Hey everybody, it's Paul Ramsey, and I'm joined by Charlie Curtis, who's presenting a 2-hour workshop at the 2017 NGH convention. And that workshop is NLP and journaling in dealing with stress, speeding the process of stress relief. How are you, Charlie?
I am good.
Good to have you here. Tell me about, here we are, we're at the 2017 NGH hypnotism convention, but you're giving a talk on NLP. Tell folks, first of all, we don't want to assume, for folks who don't know, what is NLP?
Well, it's neurolinguistic programming, which is how words affect our neurology, which is a short way of coming up with structures that work for changing how we think and feel. It's a very gentle method when used correctly, and it kind of sits on top of hypnosis, and it really helps people do very elegant work.
Cool. I like that, the idea of elegant work. That's nice. How did you get into NLP?
Well, I started off doing some things that didn't have anything to do with NLP. I started off with psychocybernetics in college, which is a motivational system, but it's essentially a method of self-hypnosis where you go into the theater of your mind and you see yourself on the screen performing the way you want to. I then took Silva Mind Control, which is kind of the same thing. That is a very structured way, but it's basically seeing yourself the way you want to be and making old bad habits go away. At that point, I took some certification training from Dick Sutphin. That was many years ago. And that was just for personal reasons. I wasn't really a practitioner at that point. I latched on to Tony Robbins. I took his material. I really liked what he did. And I discovered he was an NLP practitioner.
Right.
And that really got me excited. And I went to Omega Institute up in New York. A lot of people have been there.
Yep.
And I ended up taking the week. I read a whole shelf of books on NLP. Somebody was giving an NLP certification there, and that got me so excited. I remember driving home from that workshop, and I had to stop every 10 miles to read another couple pages from the book. And it was Frogs into Princes on how they could get rid of phobias in 8 minutes and things like that. And I just thought this NLP stuff is terrific. So at that point, I got certified by NGH. And then one of the first things I did after I did that was I went through Will Horton's NLP certification, went all the way to NLP trainer. And Wilton's a great guy, and he and I are great friends. And so I've been a trainer for him for quite a few years. I also became involved with NGH, continuing education faculty. At this point, I'm board certified. I have a number of awards from NGH, and for the past 10 years, I've been presenting a 48-week program. It's a year-long program for medical and mental health people that goes all the way to the graduate school level. And all of this stuff, it's evidence-based, has hundreds of references into the literature, and it's a supervised practice, so they get to do everything to each other and become safe with it before they work with their patients. Because some of the things they work with are pretty severe. So
Yeah.
our model focuses on safety with clients, even if their condition is extreme, and then how to work with all the different systems of the body, endocrine, central nervous system, musculoskeletal, and all the other systems that exist using NLP to modulate how all that works. And Ernest Rossi worked with Milton Erickson while he was alive, and now he continues Erickson's work. And he wrote a book called Psychobiology, and that book of psychobiology talks about all of this and gets really deep into the scientific literature. And we do another book called Healing the Divided Self, written by two physicians that uses Ericksonian hypnotherapy to take our problems, which are basically all dissociation from who we want to be, and how to integrate ourselves, how to put ourselves and our clients back together in a safe place, in a safe way.
Cool. That's great. So you've learned a lot of different things. You've spent a long time learning and learning and learning. So you could present about a lot of different things at the convention. Why this specific? Why NLP and journaling in dealing with stress? Why that topic?
Well, this is actually a model that I put together years ago. It's actually been published in two different journals, both in the NGH Hypnogram and in another hypnosis journal. And in looking through what I could do this year, I just thought it was time to revisit this, because there's a lot of people who haven't had the opportunity to hear this, because I did it some years ago at the convention, decided to do it again. And so that was, and stress is not going away.
Right.
If anything, stress is more. And when you deal with a stressed out client, they're always stuck somewhere. So this is an 8-stage model for where they are in the process of recovery from stress. And everybody gets stuck at a different place. And they reveal that by their speech patterns. So if you know what to look for, you can say, this person is stuck at phase one. They don't have proper a feeling, an awareness of when their body is stressed and something has to break, where they have to get sick before they realize something is wrong.
Right.
Or somebody else is really good at everything, but they don't know how to get back to a feeling of life as good. And so if you don't get the feeling of life as good, nothing else happens. You're stuck.
Right.
Or somebody else can do all that, but they don't know how to do well-formed goals or how to turn them into action steps. So there's all these different places people can get stuck. And so this model lays all that out, tells you how to look at their speech patterns and find out where they are, and then how to unstick them. And it uses therapeutic journaling as one of several tools that'll help. But I'm focusing on therapeutic journaling because it's so marvelously applicable to this type of situation. And this actually grew out of an article that I wrote on this, which everyone will receive, where I interviewed Kathleen Adams, who is a PhD involved in therapeutic journaling and written several books on it. And I got a lot of information from her and put it together with what I knew and came up with methods that people could use either in a therapeutic session or in a group setting, in a workshop, to help them get over their stuck places.
Cool. Gosh, that's great. So you guys who are listening, watching this, Charlie's got great learning objectives here. I mean, he's going to help you be able to describe in one sentence a theory of stress recovery. You're going to be able to list the 8 sequential stages of stress recovery. You're going to be able to describe a 3-step process for assessing the client's requirements. You're going to describe 3 reasons why NLP is ideal for stress recovery. You're going to list the 3 benefits of journaling in stress recovery. And as Charlie's already mentioned, you're going to describe a 4-step process for implementing the 8-stage model. So really clearly well-formed learning objectives here. 2-hour workshop, remember, 2-hour workshop. Charlie, what do you think the value of these particular, when people come, they spend their 2 hours with you and they learn these things, how's it going to make them a better practitioner when they head on back to their practice?
Well, first of all, everybody always comes to a workshop like this for themselves because they want to get better at not getting stuck.
Point.
And so we're going to spend a good hour doing experiential stuff. So they'll actually get to go through the process, figure out where they are in the model, and use journaling to get themselves unstuck. So they'll get a real how-to in person. And it's also a great thing to do with your clients, because if you don't have a model like this, the person says, I'm stressed, where do you start? Well, this tells you where to start. Assess where they are, listen to their speech patterns by asking them questions, then find out where they are stuck. And now you can pinpoint, this person needs to get better at goals. This person needs to get better at feeling good about life. This person needs to learn how to release emotional stress or physical stress. And you can go right to that and work on that. And just like that, they'll be through that, and then they'll think you're wonderful.
I love it. And we all want that, right? I got to tell you, I'm a little embarrassed, but I'm going to say this anyway. So before I got into hypnotism, I was an English teacher, and yet I've been in hypnotism for over a decade, and I have never thought of doing this. It's almost like I made a new life and I didn't want to connect it, but I used to always tell my students writing is thinking. And I've sat for over a decade and let people talk and talk and talk to me, but I've never said, right, there's a difference between how you think when you speak and when you write.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can have somebody do a little bit of journaling at the beginning of the session, take them through your processes, and at the end of the session, they won't even recognize the person who wrote that thing in the beginning because they're going to be feeling so much better. So you want to talk about a convincer? That's a convincer.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And let me throw something else out there.
Yeah, please.
Neurolinguistic is all about words and how they affect the personality. And so one of the terms in NLP is a nominalization. And it's a word that represents something that isn't really a something. So the thing is, if it fits in a wheelbarrow, it's a thing. If you can't fit it in a wheelbarrow, it's a nominalization. It's a name for a thing that isn't there. Like relationships don't exist. You can't find one. You can't stick it on the shelf. You can't deposit it in the bank.
Right.
But we relate to each other all the time. But we tell each other stories about our so-called relationships that get us upset. And so we get stuck. And so every time someone is stuck, they're believing a nominalization that something is true that doesn't even exist. And so that's what we do with the NLP modeling. We get into all the words they're telling themselves. For example, Albert Ellis, if you're familiar with him, rational motive therapy, he's one of the people that got CBT off the ground. He found that if you eliminated the verb to be, you could get people out of their trouble. And so one of his books is A Guide to Rational Living, and in that he teaches people how to take the verb to be out of their speech, and immediately they feel so much better because they're no longer saying I am this and I am that. They're just saying I did this, I had that experience.
Right.
That's totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's a great example. Hey, how has this helped you? Like, I always ask people when I do these interviews, I say, is there like a real light bulb moment where because of that light bulb moment, your practice, your results like really leapfrogged forward? Can you think of anything like that?
Well, the light bulb moment for me in NLP was their premise that the map is not the territory. Because I'd spent most of my life trying to figure out which map was the correct one, and they all seemed to have truth in it, and I was driving myself crazy.
Yeah.
When I studied NLP and realized they were all maps, I realized that they were all telling some of the truth, and I just needed to find the right map to get me where I wanted to go today.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing with our clients is we're saying, that place you want to go, it's not on the map you're using right now, but let me show you this map that'll take you right there.
Yeah. Very cool. That's a great example. Thank you so much. If people want to learn more about you and what you do, what's a good way for them to do that?
Well, I'm currently part of a group practice in the Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton area of Northeast Pennsylvania. My website is https://4dcounseling.com.
Okay.
And my Facebook page is Charlie, Charlie, Curtis, Curtis, hypnotherapy.
Great. Great. All right, you guys. So one last time, we're talking about Sunday, August 13th at 8 a.m., 2-hour workshop with Charlie, NLP and journaling in dealing with stress. Charlie, thanks so much for making this time for me.
Glad to help.
All right. We'll see you in August.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.